A little bit. I like techno and all that, but what do you think of this? There's a little too much jumpy, wouldn't you say? Just one more. What is that? Yeah, not bad, but you know. We'll give it above a 5, but we won't give it a 10, that sort of thing. All right, Tri-City Sports now. A couple of things I want to get to here. The Atlanta Falcons yesterday agreed to a 4-year, $57 million deal with their star linebacker Deion Jones. $34 million of it's guaranteed. Not bad, Deion. So let's see here. The Falcons, by the way, they signed Grady Jarrett to a 4-year, $68 million contract earlier in the week. Jones is a former Pro Bowler 2 years ago. A lot of tackles, second-round pick in 2016. In 2017, he had 136 tackles, but was placed on injured reserve after breaking his foot, right foot, on opening day last year, which might be one of the reasons why the Falcons weren't necessarily all that good. I mentioned before, hey, look for Clint Frazier, and I said DL, but which is now the IL. But of course, he's down in the farm. I wanted to mention him. But the Yankees continued to benefit from, I guess, the small market teams purging themselves of salaries. They also did that. Of course, the Royals sent their catcher to the Chicago Cubs earlier this week, and now Terrence Gore, pretty good outfielder with a lot of speed. He actually will go to AAA. That's how stacked the Yankees are. And it was announced before the Yankees-Rays game. Only 5'7", but is one of the fastest players. 28 years old. He is hitting .275 with 13 steals and 18 attempts. Catchers and pitchers are getting better. Again, sort of a speed demon. Look for him maybe. Herm Washington, Matt Alexander. You got to be baseball fans of tremendous historical knowledge, or in middle age to remember those guys. But it wasn't Miguel Delaney, although Delaney did become a legitimate starting outfielder in the big leagues at a period of time. But a lot of times they used to have specialization, and there would be a pinch runner. Now, Washington, all he ever did was pinch run, but you'd get guys who were pinch runners, and that was what they did. I mean, that was their role. And Matt Alexander did that for the 79 Pirates, but he actually hit 11 times that year. Herm Washington never hit, that sort of thing. So you'd get those sort of role play, and I wonder if that's not what the Yankees have in mind for Terrence Gore. I wonder if that's not on the horizon for them. Other notes that I should tell you, Chuck Person is not going to go to jail, even though he was in a bribery scandal that cost him his job and really has turned around college basketball. And, I mentioned yesterday, I think LeVar Ball may go down as the man who changed college basketball, because I really and truly believe that top prospects are going to start going pro immediately and not necessarily go to college basketball. That's good news for an ETSU. It's good news for the mid-majors. They become more competitive that way. Anyway, Person was sentenced to 200 hours of community service during 2 years of probation and 2 years of probation for. Let's see here. Sentencing guidelines called for 2 years in prison, though 3 other coaches who pled guilty to the same charge received lenient sentences. But he was involved in financial trouble at the time when he accepted $91,500 in bribes to parlay his relationships with top players to steal them to a financial advisor, according to federal prosecutors. The advisor, however, was actually working as a government cooperator. How's that for a sting operation? We're going to clean up college basketball now. So Patino is no longer around, and no. Let's see here. Mentioned before that the Atlanta Braves are struggling with the Brewers. That series is over. They're actually going to play today the Washington Nationals. That'll be in Washington. It'll be Steven Stromberger's 11-4 going up against Julio Teheran, who of course starts every opening day for the Atlanta Braves. The Nationals and Braves have been the hottest teams in baseball over the last, 6 weeks of the season. And so, it should be a good mark. Washington has pulled up to second place like they did at the end of last year, ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies, but still trail the Bravos by a grand total of 6 games in the standings. And I mention all that because, tomorrow we're going to talk to Josh Brown of Knockahoma Nation. And one of the things we like to do is pick on Gabe Kapler. That's always just really fun. I like doing that. Because he gives us so much to pick on. And yet, he is not necessarily criticized. Now, people could criticize me by saying that I call for the manager to be fired a lot. I think that the manager, I often call on the manager to be fired. And I think that the manager in baseball, and I always hear Colin Cowherd say, he's called a manager, not a coach, for a reason. He doesn't deserve the big money. There's reasons why Alex Cora is now a manager. It's because he gets along with the players. But the thing is, baseball strategy is so important. I mean, you insert the wrong relief pitcher in the wrong time, gives up the home run, you lose the ball game. And we've forgotten about that. And I think one of the reasons why is what with the DH, we don't have the amount of strategy. Instead, we have, look, we'd be deprived of seeing Edgar Martinez hit. Actually, we're deprived of considering the baseball player to be an all-around athlete. There's no reason that Martinez couldn't play third base, or first, as the case may be, if his bat would allow it. And I think that's how we've had baseball, go into its current state of home run derby. But I do think the manager is very important. I think that the Braves are fortunate to have, an old school manager in Brian Snitker. There are times where I don't like the move that Brian Snitker has made, but then again, it's the move that just about anybody else would make. I mean, we're taking out pitchers with no hitters, not because it's, say, they're down 1-0 in the 8th inning and we've got to win a ball game, but no, they've hit their pitch count. What is it? 85! Oh, well, certainly you can't have somebody going. Regardless, I'm going to tell you of media hypocrisy with Gabe Kapler and more, and also just, media coach relationship, media manager relationship, as the case may be. I don't have anything local to talk about so much, but you know what? Yeah, this is Media Watch. Okay. That is really rough sounding. I gotta apologize for that. But then again, I got a lot of pages up on my computer. I've been remiss in telling you about this story. And I think many of you have already known it. But last month, it's almost been a month, I still want to know how Mickey Callaway can keep his job. Manager of the Mets. Now, they've actually won 4 in a row. I don't know if you're aware of this. The Mets have won 4 in a row. So who knows? Maybe they'll catch up with the Phillies. They're not going to catch up to the Braves. And Mickey Callaway has been ridiculed as the manager of the Mets, and he's not getting the best out of his team. Let's just face facts. When you look at Noah Syndergaard, who is now, when you're looking at the Mets staff and what they're doing, DeGrom or whoever, and that they're not getting the results from it, it speaks to me of a manager taking out the pitcher at the wrong time. Which many, by the way, think that his predecessor, Callaway's predecessor, did in the playoffs the previous 2 years. The Mets had made it in 2016 as well as 2015 in the World Series. You remember that. But anyway, Mickey Callaway comes in And did you see this last month where he and a reporter and a pitcher really got into it? And a serious breach of conduct, along with Jason Vargas, one of his pitchers. And it was the idea of a major league manager yelling expletives at a reporter for having the temerity to say, "see you tomorrow," is ludicrous, but it's exactly what happened. And it shows me a manager who's losing it. I remember once Hal McRae had the same thing. This is written by John Taylor of Sports Illustrated. And, the Mets are sitting in fourth place. What are they holding on to Callaway for? Could somebody explain this? I mean, you lose. "See you tomorrow" results in the loss of temper, and I know that this is really old news. It's last month, but I see the Mets continue to struggle. I know that they're on a winning streak right now, a modest one of 4 games, but right now I could even show you articles in the New York media begging the Mets, even during this winning streak, because they're in fourth place, please fire Callaway, bring in Joe Girardi. Callaway has no control on his team. He has no control on his temper. This is not someone who should be managing the New York Mets. And, we can discuss, let's talk about the relationship the manager has with the baseball team, but I think that, yes, the reason why the Mets are struggling and maybe why the Braves are attempting to run away with the division. Hey, look, Braves do well against the Nationals this weekend. They'll have the division. No question about that. If they would sweep the Nationals at 10-game lead, forget about it. Yeah. Now, the interesting thing about the media saying that let's have in Joe Girardi is that you'll remember in 2012, there was a shouting match between Girardi and a New York Post columnist named Joel Sherman. You get the idea that maybe a laid-back manager for the Mets. And if that would happen, then, yeah, maybe next year the Braves' future might not be so bright. Mets have talent, but they're not getting it used. I saw one of those best managers in baseball, type of, let's rank the managers 1 through 30. Callaway came in 24th. I was trying to figure out how in the world could you have 6 managers that are listed worse than Callaway. Then again, one of them was Bell in Cincinnati, and he's got the 3rd best pitching in the major leagues and is in last place and 7.5 back of a real mediocre Cubs team. So consider that. I like to make fun of Gabe Kapler. He gives us so much to attempt to make fun of him for. And, of course, the Phillies have been dropping like a brick. Now, they did win a game 2 days ago on a walk-off home run by Bryce Harper. But Kapler, as one of the things here is that, did you see where Kapler, a couple of days ago, benched third baseman Michael Franco for not hustling? And this is after he defended, his catcher, Real Mundo, for doing the same thing. It resulted in an injury to Andrew McCutchen, and he got into it with a sports talk show host up in Philly. So we're doing the media. 2 managers who should never be filling out a lineup card again. Gabe Kapler and Mickey Callaway. If you are, and somehow this, by the way, poll had Kapler at 19. See, modern media loves Kapler because he's the hip new thing with all the analytics, and he's in really good shape and good looking and all that. Please. Not, he had a losing record last year. Not getting what he needs to from his talent. Braves fans, this is a team on the rise. But you really should count your lucky stars that the Phillies and Mets are managed by incompetence. 14-20.